Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Mindset Monday. So, this is where we take a topic and we dive into it for our mindset for the week so you can set into your week powerfully with the kind of mind that can do all the things that you want to do, whether it's performing in your sport, whether it's crushing it at work, whether it is having the most fulfilling, huge life that you really, really are excited for, an exceptional life. So today our topic is entertain me. Nice, right? Well, the reason I created this topic is because of a coach that used to work for me a few years ago, and he used to come in with groups of people and he would say this: are you here to do something? Are you here for something to do? Or are you here to do something? That was what he would say. And it was really powerful because what we noticed is that these athletes would start to ask themselves, well, what do you mean? Of course I'm here, just for something to do. But the reality is it had them start to ask, am I here to do something? And what is it? What is it that I'm here to do? So the real title, instead of entertain me, is are you here for something to do or are you here to do something? This is the fundamental question that really changes every experience and how we shape our experience of our own life. We seem to step into so many situations of life expecting it to occur in the way that serves us without realizing that the only way it can truly serve us is if we actually engage. If we not only engage, but we give. So, what does it take to do something like that? Engaging is critical for learning, it's critical for growth, it's critical for connection, all of which are essential for living this big experience of our life. Yet we show up to so many meetings, we show up to workouts, we show up to our family dinners, we show up to social gatherings in a way that we show up to a sporting match, a way that looks like we settle in, grab some popcorn, grab our drink, and look back like, okay, entertain me, show me what you got. And when we show up like that, we get this flat experience of life. If there's a play that we don't like, we might shout or yell and say something about it. However, we're certainly not going to be the water boy or let alone in the game participating in that sport match. And that's how we show up for a lot of our scenarios in life. So the question is, are we killing time or are we creating results? Are we showing up to watch the game or are we getting in the game? If we're in the game, are we on the bench or are we on the court? Where are we in this game of life? Are we contributing or are we contaminating? We all have impact, and how we show up and how we approach our lives is how those ripple effects from our impact are going to impact others or not, or completely drain the energy from whatever the situation is. So are we dampening all the energy that's around us? But when we show up to serve, do something, engage, the game changes. We make a difference for ourselves, but also everyone around us. We really show up. This is the athlete who's injured and comes to every single practice, every single game with this full enthusiasm and support, despite not being able to play. And despite that they're pulling double duty. Most people don't realize this when they see an injured player. They don't realize that player's pulling double duty because they're spending another couple hours every day rehabbing whatever the injury is, doing the extra exercises, the physio, all of the things. So what else does this look like? This is the coworker who supports a presentation that isn't theirs, who shows up in dedication and whatever support that's required. Maybe it's just tech support, even though they're not the lead. It's the staff in a hybrid scenario where people are working from home or they're working at the office. They're doing both. But the staff in the hybrid scenario that shows up at the office as much as possible to support the leaders of the company, to have proximity and to be there and serve in any way that they can. It's the Zoom meeting where the focus is fully engaged. The focus is on. Any other messages like Slack or whatever are all blocked out just to focus on that Zoom meeting. The phone is off. It's not in your lap where you're trying to look at it and you think nobody sees you doing it. It's that full engagement. It's the spouse who cleans up the kitchen when they realize that the other partner is not able to show up and they're fully themselves. That's what it looks like. We are capable of so much, yet we often play so small in our lives. We'll do things like binge watch our favorite shows, but won't call our family. No, don't want to make that call to the mother-in-law or to the grandparent or to the whatever. We will comment on the post of a stranger, but not connect with a person that we work with. We do these things all of the time, and these are examples of not showing up. And this isn't meant to be any sort of lecture. What it's meant to be is this awareness, this awakening, this understanding that we are capable of so much more in this life called humanity, this human connection that we have and we're capable of. And yet we sit back and wait for it to show up in front of us. Wait for it to make us enlightened or make us a certain way, and yet it's only us that can create our own lives. So if you want to show up and do something, what are the actual rules of engagement? What does it look like to show up and do something? Really be your best in order to give your best. That is our mission. Number one, it looks like creating the state. Before I'm going to do a podcast or show up on a live or do something along those lines, I make sure I've moved. I make sure that I'm like doing a little jumping up and down, something that's going to bring the energy, because to permeate this platform, to permeate a live scenario, to permeate video, to permeate audio, I have to show up bigger than I actually feel like in order to get my energy through to wherever you are. So create the state that you want. This involves recognizing where you are. If you recognize that you're in this low energy, if you're in this lull of the day, if you recognize that, then that's the first step. Because that energy, when you recognize where there's going to be something that will contribute or something that will contaminate, then that's your clue to be able to shake off whatever doesn't serve the situation and create what will. And also, when creating your state, wake the dead. How many times do we show up on Zoom and become what I call a zombie? The lights are on, but nobody's home. So wake the dead. Show up and look in people's eyes. Number two is discover what is needed. This is your discovery process. This is what any good practitioner in anything does. They accumulate information, whether they're a physician or a consultant. Discover what is needed. Use intelligent curiosity to learn what is going on around you. Do not assume anything, and listen in a way that engages so you can actually feel what's going on for the other person. And number three, give your best. Your best is undivided attention, not distractions coming at you, really focusing on who you want to focus on. Give them you, that person, that audience, that coworker, whoever it is, your spouse, give them you. That is really showing up. How many times are we giving ourselves to 5 different things and we're acting as though we're giving ourselves to that other person, but they know it. They know that they don't have you. They know you're not there. So give that full undivided attention. Use small gestures or a kind word to really be able to connect with the other person. And that gap, when you've discovered all the things and you see the gap, give whatever's going to fill that gap. If you can see it, you can fill it. Even if you're not the best person for the role, you might know somebody who is. Fill that gap. Wherever the issue is, make sure you step into it or you bring somebody into that, because the worst thing that can happen, I've seen this in cultures of business, I've seen this in cultures of national sports teams, where people see the gap and they go and talk amongst each other or complain to other people about that gap. They'll say how, oh, there's a problem with this, or we don't like that, or this is an issue. And yet instead, fill that gap. Find the thing that's needed, whether it's more energy, whether it's another person for that role, whatever it is, find what's needed and help instead of complain or contaminate. Fill that gap with something that will serve. So waiting to be entertained, this entertain me kind of culture that we live in, this cancel culture, because if it's not good enough for the entertainment of the masses, then it's going to get cut. Waiting to be entertained is not a full life. And that's not the life that we're here to live. We're here to really show up. Showing up to do something creates results. It connects with others, and it gives you a rich life. It gives you something to be proud of, something that fulfills, something that's powerful. So show up for your best life, to live an empowered life, to give your best to others. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of your week. And I hope that this serves you in some little way or some big way. Have a good one. Mwah.